I did not know that the music was going to stop at that exact moment. I should have been paying attention. I was chatting with the rest of the chat. Hey everyone, if you are not familiar with the stream, it makes sense because this is a new stream that GitHub's doing called Started Up Wednesdays. The name's still being workshopped, so if you have ideas in the chat of what the title can be, feel free to drop it below. But basically, this is a Twitch stream where I'll be chatting with startup founders about their product, and how we can better use it, discovering how they built it, and then also how they're leveraging GitHub as well to help give us ideas for our own startups as well, or our own projects, and how we can best leverage it. One thing I wanted to quickly highlight before we get started is GitHub for startups. And let me just share my screen really quickly for y'all. And if you all do have a startup right now, I would encourage you to look into GitHub for Startups. Basically, what GitHub for Startups does is helps your startup go from idea to IPO on the world's largest and most advanced developer platform. Each of the eligible startups receive 20 seats of GitHub Enterprise free for 12 months. So definitely look into that, tap into that, y'all, because that is a really great benefit. Like GitHub Enterprise for free for 12 months. I would do it. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce our guest, or have our guests introduce themselves. Hi, Tsavo. What's up?
What's going on, everyone? Thank you, Rizzle, for having me. And we are GitHub for Startups partner and I guess program user. We build on GitHub. And today, yeah, we're going to be talking about some pretty exciting things, primarily around developer productivity, but just at the atomic level for an individual developer and perhaps their team, but really in their workflow. So I've got some things to share. We're going to have a nice demo, and also, at the end, we'll give some power tips of how our startup, Series C startup, is building, efficiencies on top of the GitHub platform, just from running a company, building a startup, etc.
Awesome! I'm super excited about that. Let me just highlight a couple of comments as well. I guess some people are watching from France. I always like to see that people are tuning in from all over the world. So hey,
oh yeah,
in Kentucky, someone in India, and someone in California. So we've got folks from all over the world. And if y'all see me look over to the side, I'm just looking at my list of questions. So let's get into it. Tsavo,
right.
What is a startup? What does it do?
Sure. And do you care if I throw a slide up just as I talk over? Okay, awesome. Let me just share my whole screen here. But yeah, so we put this together just as some help. But yeah, so just pieces for developers. want to highlight again, it's the simple things. So it's back to the basics. And as you're a developer going through your day-to-day workflow, you're really in the browser or in your IDE or maybe a collaboration environment like Microsoft Teams or Slack or Google Chat. And so in all three of these places, you're interacting with developer materials and you have a lot of context where that interaction occurred in your workflow. And so we just have a really, really smart place, a micro repository, if you will, for you to put those things. It's native AI, it's got a bunch of magic to it, and it's really, really frictionless to use. All of this kind of just amounts at the end of the day to improve productivity and time savings, which again, as developers are asked more and more to do more and more these days, time is ever more valuable. So that's really the name of the game for us. And we'll have a whole bunch of demo stuff here in a sec as well. Oh, let me find my thing. Okay, nice.
Inception.
Oh, my bad.
This for a little bit, but love it. I'm really excited to see how you help to save time. Because like we were mentioning, well, I was chatting with you a little bit beforehand. I was a software engineer before I became a developer advocate, so I'm really excited to do this. I'm curious, from your perspective, how has your journey led you to here of building? I guess it's called Pieces for developers. Yeah. Like what inspired you to create this? Were you initially a developer before, or you had a different background? Love to know.
Yeah, so myself and the team, we've been doing startups for quite some time now, and so I've been a technical founder in all three. But the second startup really inspired this third one, Pieces, and the second one was collaboration environments for edtech. So think Slack for higher education, except plug into the school's database and automatically create all your groups and channels and stuff like that, and keep them up to date. And so that was really focused on how people collaborate. Which is, hey, I'm going to send you something, we're going to have a conversation, etc. But really, when we decided to make a pivot from the edtech space, we said, let's focus on, other markets. We wanted to focus on the what, and the what is what was shared, perhaps a code snippet or a link or, just an important resource. And that applies for developers, designers, etc. And so Pieces is really kind of that concept of how flipped on its head to focus on the what is shared and where you save it. And then we add a bunch of magic to really enrich it, automatically tag it, title it, suggest it for you, etc., so that you can take important things to you and out of that chaos of a collaborative environment and save it off for kind of a private micro environment for your stuff. So we'll do a demo and it'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, because even when I went on the website, it said y'all are incorporating AI and ChatGPT.
Oh yeah.
Like, wow, this sounds interesting, but like, how could this all happen? Okay, if you're ready, let's transition into the demo. I'll let you change the screen so we won't have.
Oh yeah. Perfect. All right. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, so as I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of kind of locations where a developer is doing their work, right? And so let me just kind of quickly flash the home location, which is Pieces, right? And I'll dive into this a bit more, but let me just talk about myself and my personal workflow as a developer. It oftentimes starts in the browser, and especially with ChatGPT these days, you can see I've got a ton of conversations and it's generating a lot of snippets and explanations. But besides something like ChatGPT, oftentimes I'm looking for packages and I'm looking for sample code. Maybe I want to save something, etc. And then, of course, I'm in my IDE, and perhaps I'm in a very large code repository or doing a PR on GitHub. And I say, hey, that's a nice piece of code. I actually want to save that as some sample code, or I want to save it and send it to someone, maybe a teammate that I'm onboarding. And so you're just interacting with all these kind of atomic and useful materials. And then, that moment in time when you interacted with it, that context, that's really important to save that as well. So I'll kind of jump in and show you what that looks like. So, today, if I have, code snippet that I like, maybe I'll come in and I'll just copy this. For a lot of tools that are out there, for example, my Notes app, and I just paste some code.
I was going to say, this is embarrassing, but when I write code, I'll just save it in my Notes app.
Right. And so you can see here, it's plain text, right? But if I take, the same exact thing that I have in my Notes app here, and I go ahead and I go over to Pieces, and again, all I'm going to do here is paste. I just control V. And so right away, Pieces automatically said, hey, that wasn't actually, text, that was actually code. And it's not only code, it's Dart. And then what's going on here is we're doing some background enrichment to actually generate smart tags, a smart title, description, etc. And so you can see it came in and it said, configuration and repository for providers in Dart, right? And so I can go ahead and just flip this snippet, and you can do that with the context view or Command I. And you can see we automatically added a bunch of tags, and I can add some more, if I'd like. So of course, add however, and then it'll recommend suggested tags too. So Dart and so on. It automatically created a smart description. So again, that's nice to have. And it did suggested searches for me. But I think the coolest thing for me is the fact that it goes out and we automatically associate other relevant docs and documentation that might be related to state management. And so I could take a look at this, and this is state management, and it's highly related to the snippet that I saved, which is state management using Riverpod. So really saving that snippet in the first place is really important. And if I go to ChatGPT, I can do the same thing. Hey, I want to maybe save this to Pieces using the Chrome extension. And here I am. I can come in and I can rename it if I'd like. And this is template. And then I can just save that. And we'll have, again, all that information, where the snippet came from, other related links, descriptions, etc. And so similarly, we have amazing VS Code and IntelliJ plugins. If you'd like to save your pieces right there, or if you'd like to search or look at the pieces that you have. So you can see here suggested snippets or all snippets. And if I'm in line, I can go ahead and search Flutter image. And maybe I want to select the Pieces tab, or try this out. I am on staging, so this one might not work, but you got the idea, right? It's there, yeah. You can definitely see them, and you can also view the snippet as well. Like I said, startups, you're shipping fast, so you're not always gonna You're not always gonna have a perfect demo, but yeah. And then here's the snippet in my IDE. Again, I can copy it, run it in place, look at the content, etc. So that's all about saving and enrichment, and really all I did there was paste. I'll pause before I jump into the other two components, which is transforming and also looking at your workflow activity. We have two other views, and then global search, which is really exciting as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I mean, I guess
any questions?
I don't have a lot of questions. I'm just really impressed because now I'm I want to use this. But I do sometimes I'll take a snippet, I'll put it into my notes app or somewhere that doesn't make sense, or I'll have it in Visual Studio Code and I'll be like, oh my God, where was that snippet? Or sometimes I'll be nervous to close the tab because I'm this Stack Overflow post or whatever was so quality, I don't want to lose it.
That's right. Yeah. And so yeah, definitely use Pieces Chrome extension and save that snippet. We'll have the origin site, bunch of related links, etc. And that's the context that I'm talking about, is saving the value of the snippet, but also where it came from, who's related to it, etc.
Yeah.
So you get the idea of saving. We want to make it super fast. And then also wanted to show here, we actually save things for you. So when I do work in IntelliJ, we're actually able to pick up on those patterns and say, hey, this snippet is useful to you based on what you're doing, but also you don't have anything like it inside of Pieces already. And so you can see I have a bunch of auto-save snippets here. And if I wanted to take a look at what Pieces has been doing in the background for me, I can go to my workflow activity. And this activity is kind of a real nice snapshot of everything that's going on. So perhaps I want to look at creation events, and you can see yesterday this Dart snippet was auto-created from the JetBrains plugin. I didn't save it myself, and it turns out to be very helpful. And maybe if it's not exactly what I want, I can discover related snippets to it, which will take a sec. We're doing some generative AI here.
How does it know related? Okay, I mean, you just said generative AI, so.
Yeah. So it'll do related snippets via AI generation. So we might be having a little bit of a cold start, but here we are. And so you can see the previous snippet was about executables. And so you can see, I have a process kill here and some others, a just-in-time process termination, and maybe a little bit of shorter code. So I can say, hey, this one's nice, and I can go ahead and save that. And now I just added from discovery. But if I go back, what you were mentioning is suggestion based on what I last saved.
Yeah.
So if I jump to the front, this is not generative, but this is actually like kind of a TikTok-like, matching algorithm to say, hey, you just saved it. Now we can traverse it. But over time, yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
because I've seen the comments and I don't want people to think this is Copilot X. Someone said, wait, is this Copilot? I'm like, this is an awesome demo. I don't want people being like, oh my God, Copilot X. No, this is pieces, y'all.
Yeah. But I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah, and of course, a lot of this does operate like in our plugins. It's very similar, but GitHub Copilot and Copilot X do productivity at the kind of snippet level or even like the current problem level. And this is really a matter of, hey, I'm solving a bunch of things and I just want to curate that final solution or something that's important. And so with all the generative AI that's going on, you're going to see an increase in volume of code. You're also going to see an increase in the need to curate particular code. And that's really where Pieces fits into that formula. But speaking of saving, you're going to save a lot of things. I oversave all the time. And so the next two things that I want to do is obviously reference things, but also share things. So I'll just touch on sharing. Again, we're going to kind of hit on this context, the importance of context here. And let me go back to my chronological sort. But yeah, so if I have this and I actually want to share this, you can see we have custom domains for everyone. Your snippets are up on your private kind of cloud, which is cloud gapped from other users. You can also share via GitHub Gist, which is awesome. But if I copy that and then I go to the browser, we can see here, it's actually going to say, hey, the recipient doesn't need pieces, but we're going to give them the snippet and all the context that they want. Again, my cloud is doing a little bit of a cold start here.
Okay.
Apologies, but we're almost there. Yeah. And so if I sent that link to you, you'd actually see, there's the snippet. I can save it if I have pieces. But again, you can see all the metadata, related links, tags, and now I'm associated with that. So if I sent that snippet to Mark and then Mark sent that snippet to Mac, Mac would know, hey, I could talk to Mark about this snippet or I could talk to Tsavo about this snippet. And so even the people as a part of the context is really important. So yeah, that's a little bit on sharing. And I'll just show you again, it's personal clouds. You can see my personal cloud is already booted. So the next time around, it's very fast. So we do have, again, serverless infrastructure. So there are some small cold starts here and there. But the last thing, which is really, really awesome, is we introduced transformations and also really, really advanced global search. So I'll just show you global search real quick. Again, you save a bunch of stuff. People are sharing things to you. Again, you're just going to explode the volume of things you have saved. And that's why search becomes ever more important. So I can come in here and I can actually say, hey, I'd like to just maybe look at one of these suggested searches and terminate a process in Dart. And you can see that's all of my stuff offline available, queried and rendered right here in my workflow. And so these are my tags, my snippets, my related links, etc. And we actually kind of rank each one based on how important it is to your current workflow. So you can see, here's a GPT inference server that we've been working on. That's at the high level. And sometimes too, you're just like, hey, I need to clear, Git history. And I don't remember what I saved or how I titled it, but right here we are, remove large files. This is a really important snippet. I can look at that, I can copy it, and I can go ahead and use that in my workflow. So really, really nice way to kind of globally search my stuff. It's a different form factor. I can look at external links out in the cloud. And if I don't have anything that I particularly like, maybe I can come in and I can say, let's do the remove large files. I can jump to it. And this is the thing for transformations. So you can edit this snippet, but with the power of kind of large language models in the cloud, you can actually say, I'd like to, for example, create a draft as a boilerplate template for documentation or sample code. You can improve the snippet for performance. You can improve the snippet for readability, or you can kind of convert this snippet to a different language. So if I wanted to convert this batch file to shell, let me go ahead and find it here, right here. And then I wanted to say also git push all after clearing the cache. I can actually now just convert that, and I can give it a little note on how I might want to transform this snippet, and then it's going to go ahead and do this. And by the way, this is really, really cutting edge, but you can see here, yeah, here's the new snippet. It's commented, and it has my git push all at the end, as well as a shell compatible version. And I can save this to pieces. So I'll go ahead and close there. And right there at the front, remove large file from Git history, and it's duplicated, origin site, everything ready to go. So that's some really awesome stuff that's coming up, and you can start to see how this really, really increases productivity in your workflow. And it's a really flexible tool, so it kind of works for everyone in a slightly different way.
I love this. This really thinks about the developer holistically, because when we think about developer productivity, we're not always thinking about like, oh, the developer has to be, like you said, in the browser, in this part, in that part. We had a couple questions. Some of them
okay,
a bit of
sure.
Or maybe even a comment. Someone named Paul, they mentioned Pieces doesn't appear to be installable through Brew on Mac. It would be awesome if it could be made available that way. I automate all my setups, so it'd be great to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And if you reach out to us, honestly, we can get you a curl link so you can just pull it down like that as well. But most definitely, we do have a package and we have a DMG, so a whole bunch of stuff. We'll get it on Brew, 100%.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Some people are asking, and this might be because we're used to me doing Open Source Friday with other open source projects. They said, is it free, or where can they get access to Pieces? You have like tiers, and I don't know.
Yeah, so we're currently a free application, and that's because we're doing what's called product-led growth for a startup, which is, hey, you want to put it out there, you want to grow with your community, and just build until you have really A+ product market fit. So if you go to pieces.app, you can actually get it. Just again on your Mac OS, Linux, or Windows, and just go ahead and download right there. We will have some paid plans that are coming out in like June or July, which really are actually about kind of privacy, security, offline capabilities, etc. Which I have a really amazing demo that I want to slide in, and it's just a pre-recorded video, but it's some of our offline ML that you can expect to see running on your device in a private environment.
Sure. If you want to try it, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Try it out.
Okay. So again, what you really saw is those large language models in the cloud, they take a minute to run. And when it comes to, for example, titling something or understanding, tags or description, that's really, really important that we do that quickly and we do it offline. And if you build software that's used, for example, in government or in, a very secure environment, code is a very important material that, you can't have just getting leaked. So I'll just go ahead and pull this up and give everyone a preview here. But we have an A+ kind of infrastructure and ML team in our company. I mean, our whole team's A+, but we're really pushing the boundary on some of the machine learning here. And this video actually shows Pieces running completely offline and on device, but still having the same type of machine learning experiences. So you can see I want to process in a local mode, and I pasted. And right there, we've already got a title, we've already got a description, and we've already got 4 tags. I might have to play that back because it was so fast, but yeah, you can see. So this is the new ML, again, micro models that are on your device. And yeah, just automatically enriched. And then we'll have the comparison, which is I can go to a blended mode, which uses large language models. And I can paste that snippet, and we're going to be waiting for a second. Almost there. Almost there.
It's doing it.
It's getting there, yeah. And there we go. Asset searchable list generation. And so, if you look at that time difference, right, developers are jumping around their workflow just super quick. I mean, you saw how quickly I've been moving around, this presentation. Developers move fast. And so the tools you use have to move at that same speed. And also in certain environments, they have to be, secure and on device. So we put a large emphasis there, and we're probably one of the few companies in the world that are taking kind of GPT comparable machine learning and packaging it into a form factor that can run, on your machine. So pretty proud of the team and what we've done there too.
Awesome. I love that. I love that video. Somebody asked, oh no, do you have more? Sorry, it looked like you were going to share again.
I do have one last wild thing, which is for kind of the origin OG way where people are maybe learning to code, or you're watching a live stream like this. I'll show you. We do have a really nice OCR. So if you're on YouTube and you're maybe doing like a Flutter or something like that, let's try YouTube. Okay, so let's see what we got. And again, this is just absolutely, I don't want to play that. All right, I'll just take a screenshot of some of my code and give you the 2 cents here. But you're watching a YouTube tutorial on how to build something, and you want to take a screenshot of it so you don't have to type it all out. We use machine learning behind the scenes to actually say, hey, you can just drop that image onto pieces.
No
maybe?
way.
Oh yeah, hang on. This is staging here. So let me try it out.
I'm okay with waiting for the commercial to end to see this.
It's all good. It's all good. Let's try it. It's not perfect, but and by the way, our product's about a year and a half old now. So we're really doing a lot. Here we go. So I just dragged and dropped that image on there. And you can see we automatically said, hey, that was a PNG image and it has Dart in it. And if you flip it over, we added some light tags, but I can actually extract that code out of the image. And if you look at this, it's almost 100% accuracy. And this is really hard to do with OCR. With natural language, you can actually just use natural language rule sets to correct the OCR code or the sentences. With code, characters like brackets or parentheses, semicolons, they're really hard to get right with optical character recognition. And so we basically do OCR with some machine learning to improve or repair that code really, really quickly.
Yeah. How long I've always wished I could do this. When there's an image, I wish you could just drop it in. And sometimes when there's like blog posts and then someone like writes some code, but they don't let it make it editable or anything, or copy and pastable. I love
That's right. And yeah, you can just copy it, straight to your clipboard, and then you can just go back to your project and paste it, and it's literally identical, actually. Like, and I'm also just really kind of mind blown by our own work here, because I've seen this feature improve so much. But yeah, really world class there.
Very, especially y'all did all this in 1 year and a half. Like, I'm impressed. I'm blown away. Let's look at a lot of comments are just saying they love it, or like someone said, that's cool, this is awesome. Like, people are really excited about that. Someone commented on your energy, which is really great. Kudos to you. They said Tsavo's energy is contagious. I need him as an everyday early moral booster to my team. This is awesome.
Yeah, definitely nerd out over this. Like I said, I'm a developer, and it's really amazing to build tools and then use tools and just they so deeply empathize with your workflow, right? Yeah. So it's a magical thing for me too.
That's great. Someone was asking, do you have any YouTube videos like on your channel or something that go in depth on the features?
Absolutely, you better bet. Again, growth team is just crushing. So we have a beautiful website. We have some really beautiful resource centers as well. So go ahead and check those out. But on the resource center, you can go to YouTube channel, and here we are. We've got a bunch of playlists, power tips, you name it, for VS Code, for Chrome, for the desktop app, etc. Just really professionally made. And so a whole bunch of power tips and ways to use features and pieces.
Great. This is good. This is good. Someone asked, will there be snippet generation?
Absolutely. All right. So there already is. This ships out on Monday. Okay, I'm still sharing. So let me show you. Okay. Like I said, there's a bunch of ways to create. And so one of the ways you can create is, pasting, use a plugin, import from Gist. But what we're really excited about is, just describe a snippet. So maybe these are suggested again, based on what I've been doing and things I have, but maybe I want to, let's do something. Actually, maybe give me a prompt. Maybe we have something from the, from the audience, or you have an idea.
Audience, give us a snippet generation that we should, or a prompt that we should put in for a snippet generation.
This is how you'll know it's real. Yeah.
There's a bit of a lag when we speak
okay.
So let's wait a little bit.
Okay, no problem. But I'll just talk about this. So you're just going to put a prompt in. You can describe whatever you want, and then you can select a language just to be a little bit more helpful. But yeah, and then it'll generate that snippet, which is pretty exciting.
And in the meantime, someone said offline support is great. My friend Nick said convert an object from JavaScript to Ruby. Is that a...
Okay, so let's do, let's first create that JavaScript snippet. So JavaScript object example. And then what we're going to do here, so this will basically generate, I said in Dart, LOL. But yeah, so we have this, and I can switch it to, actually I'll just save it. That's cool. So we're saving it there, and it did say it was JavaScript. Like I said, that little language icon is a helper. But here I can actually either duplicate it, or I can just edit it again, and I can say I'd like to switch the language and give me an example in Ruby using Rails framework. And so if you had a JavaScript example, let me see if we have Ruby in here. Yeah, we do. There we are. And then boom, convert.
And we had two more. I'm like, I kind of want to try those out.
So I don't know Ruby, but maybe that's right. Looks like we've got some arrows in there and so on. So yeah, I'll save that. Yeah. Like I said, that's hot off the press, by the way. And there's your JavaScript or the Ruby object.
Someone else had like an interesting prompt of generating prime numbers in Clojure using mutable structures. Do you all support Clojure?
Let's see. Yeah, we do. All right, so let's go for it. Like the team makes it happen. I'm shocked about half of the features that we support, but all right, so let's just go. I'll go ahead and add, and I'll say generate prime numbers.
We're testing the limits.
Or actually, I don't even have to say in Clojure. I can just go find the example with annotation. There we go. So yeah, and you can do this all day. You could. One thing I'll show is I love. So yeah, I guess we have a recursive loop here, and I can save this. And then for me, who's obviously very new to Clojure, I can jump up to the front and I can say, hey, that's really not that readable. Let me go ahead and just improve the readability here. And we'll get this in a sec. Boom, there we go. And so that's fully annotated, and now maybe I can send that to a student or to a team member or whatever. But yeah, prime number generator, we've got a whole bunch of tags in here, descriptions, related links, if I want to learn more about it, etc. Which is cool.
Awesome. Yeah. I did see people do more prompts. Sorry, y'all.
Okay.
I think we can do it all day, but
yeah.
Y'all download the app.
Yeah, Monday. I think it ships Monday for everyone, but the app does some wild stuff today. A lot of the transform stuff goes Monday, but global search, save, suggestion, that's all live today. Awesome. And I think create with description too is also live.
Awesome. Okay. I do want to, so some people are tuning in a little bit later. Let me just highlight a few more things, and it makes sense that y'all might not have known about this. So someone was saying like, hey, I just got off my own stream. Is this Copilot? Is this ChatGPT? Okay, it's pretty similar because it does have that AI for
right.
But this is pieces. I'll let you repeat what it is if you want.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do a super quick TLDR. Actually love GPT myself. I use it quite often in my workflow, and it's nice when it's not wrong. But let me go ahead and show that example. And again, as a developer, classically, I have a bunch of tabs open here. So, oh my gosh. Maybe I closed it from our demo. Okay, let me go ChatGPT. All right, so yeah, so some template stuff I was working on, or some deploy to Cloud Run. Again, I have tons of conversations here. It doesn't even load them all, and I just have tons of snippets in these, just back and forth all day long, errors in POISEX, et cetera, et cetera. But when I finally get a configuration that I like, I actually want to just save that somewhere. And so Pieces is kind of optimized for that curation, where it's a place to put the things out of a collaboration environment, out of a research flow like in the browser, or out of your IDE from a large code repository. And I'll note super fast, the thing about Pieces is that we do a bunch of enrichment. Your basic notes app, it's just plain text. It doesn't know much about that. But if I take that same code snippet there, and I go ahead and I put this into Pieces, just paste it. Right away, we said, hey, that wasn't actually text. That was actually code. And not only was it code, it was YAML. And I know we already covered this a little bit, but it went a step further and it said, I'm going to go ahead and name that for you. I'm going to go ahead and add all these tags for you, which is really exciting, a custom description and suggested searches. And sometimes we'll be able to associate related links, which I can just do a quick one as well. And this is really nice for the transform. But this bash script here, I can paste this. And you can see it's, again, doing the enrichment pretty quick there. Check if package is installed. Here are those related links I was talking about. And this is something I've been doing a lot recently, which is going from bash. And I actually write most of my code in Dart. So yeah, I actually convert a lot of bash scripts, convert to Dart with comments. And there we go. And this is, again, I do this where GPT might have given me a bash script and I don't want to re-ask it the question, or, it's from a conversation, a while ago, and I just put it in Pieces. I'm like, hey, I have this. I'd like to save that. And there we go. So yeah, you can see it's globally installed in Dart, which is awesome. So yeah, that's a little bit about Pieces. We have a bunch of sharing for the people who joined as well. Really nice offline global search. Again, these are your things, your links, your tags, etc., saved and so on. But yeah, check it out yourself. This is all live and free to use until basically June and July when we get our paid plans out there.
Awesome, yeah, y'all. And you have, what is it, maybe 3-4 months to leverage it as much as you can and give feedback and all that until they.
Well, yeah, and actually relevant to this question here, everything you saw today is going to be free, in the free plan for quite some time, if not forever, right? Especially because we run on device and offline. A lot of our ML, we don't have to incur cloud costs, so we can actually say, hey, that's no problem. But in April and May, we are shipping team-wide feeds, where if you do global search, it'll say, hey, here's suggestions from Mark snippets. Or if you're saving a similar snippet and Mark has also saved similar snippets, it'll match you up and it'll say, talk to Mark about this, type of problem or this type of snippet, etc. So that's the team stuff that's coming later in Q2.
Awesome. There's like so many exciting things that you all have coming. Every time someone's like, hey, what if you added this? You're like, it's coming.
It's a very flexible tool, but we have really nice custom sharing today, which a lot of people use. But yeah, we're really kind of going now. All right, it's A+ for you as a dev. Now, how does it become A+ still atomically for your team? Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great, y'all. So if you all watched the demo and you were like, yeah, I want this, go to pieces.app. If you want like some tutorials or something to help you figure out how to use it, go on youtube.com/the @ just to get some demos for yourself. Okay, so we did a lot of demos. I think this was great. I want to go into learning how you're leveraging GitHub itself.
Absolutely.
Beneficial for your company. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, basically, it's funny. We started out in kind of a split world where we had a lot of kind of GitHub and we had a lot of Bitbucket, etc. We also had like Asana for project management and so on and so forth. Let me throw these slides back up here real quick because I have some nice screenshots. Oh, I was sharing already. So again, not very good at that, but there we go. All right. So yeah, so let me go ahead and kind of jump ahead here. Thank you, Google Slides, for freaking out on me. Appreciate it. There we go. All right, yeah. So it was funny you had that up at the beginning. I went to your guys' website and I edited the HTML and building pieces or building on GitHub for pieces. So yeah, threw that in there. Thought you'd like that. But yeah, again, collaboration, DevOps, project management, compliance. We're getting our SOC 2 compliance, so that's been a big thing for us, and community. We've really built a lot of kind of efficiencies for our company on top of GitHub. And so I'll quickly mention GitHub Actions. We have some pretty advanced, architectures that run both on device, but also in cloud. And this is, all the way down to, database structures and all the way up to entire applications and the ML in between. And so there's a lot of cross-platform stuff. So, Apple Silica, Apple Intel, we are native Flutter apps, so we're compiled to native binaries. And that's pretty interesting. And so this means we need a really robust and performant kind of CI/CD pipeline. And GitHub Actions has absolutely crushed it. The large runners as well, speeding things up. We've got some pretty large and complex compilation steps for our products. So that's really, really great. And then speaking on that too, we use GitHub Actions for our ML ops to automatically train micro models, deploy those micro models, measure them, test them, etc. So a lot of experimental ML ops baked into GitHub Actions as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I will say our developers are okay at project management, but our growth team is absolutely killer at project management, and they do this through GitHub projects. So that came out earlier in the year, and we were an early adopter. We've consolidated a bunch of tools. And we've got it right close to the code, right close to the content, and it's just a really great environment. And then layering on project management, it's really been great for us. Yeah, GitHub Wiki. So we've built a beautiful documentation site. This is actually open source if you want to go check that out. And we actually deployed that using GitHub Pages. And so, yeah, you can go take a look at that as well. This is just an in-depth, full feature rundown of what we're building with like kind of just all the functionality. And then, of course, more GitHub Pages. Our website, proudly served on GitHub, which is great. And that's basically that. I'll also note I didn't have a screenshot for Copilot, but some of us use Copilot. We do use IntelliJ. Some use VS Code, so I don't know how many people will use Copilot X out the gate, but definitely that's a thing for us.
Awesome! Yeah. I love to see that you're using the entire ecosystem. You use GitHub Pages for your actual like website, and I didn't realize that this project was open sourced as well.
No, so our documentation is open source, just again, so people can collaborate, communicate, etc. Yeah. But I will note, and we've actually kind of been back and forth on this, is when you sell again to the government, or you're trying to sell to Samsung, things like that. Certain compliance levels require your app to either be closed source or some of it to be etc. Yeah. However, we're built on open source, and so we kind of thread the needle with a very generous, like, free version of the app. Yeah. Again, and kind of give back that way to developers. But then, yeah, our some versions of our app are going to be very locked down for those types of environments.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I'm always interested in like learning the decision behind like making a project closed source or open core or open source. So that was really great. We do have an interesting question here. Peter asks, will it support, or does it support generating description in different languages besides English?
We do not have anything. So again, like, it's been a year and a half in process. Localization is going to happen very, very quickly for us, though. So we've been coming up to speed. We're going to localize it to a lot of countries here in Q2 and Q3. But there are probably some clever things that we can do to have the generative stuff, just select a language drop down. So the whole app doesn't have to be localized, but definitely the description. So maybe we could do something quick. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That sounds good. And I'm always interested in that myself, because I'm like, it makes it be able, like, developers are global, so it just makes it more accessible. Somebody asks, will this work in PyCharm? Should I start using IntelliJ for Django apps?
You can use, whatever you like. We support all the JetBrains IDEs, and we have, again, like a really nice documentation on, how to use pieces inside of IntelliJ, installation, all the kind of feature sets, etc. And so, yeah, go check it out. We again support the whole IntelliJ family. We've got a good amount of users on there. I think we're coming up on 14 soon, so maybe go help us bump that up. That'd be great.
Yes, of course. And then someone just made a comment about like, and I think it just helps people to give y'all grace that like testing and perfecting translations is pretty tough. So give them some time. They've only been out for a year and a half. But yeah. Okay. So my other question to you is about the GitHub for Startups program. So you are in it, that's correct, right? How did you become involved in it, and how has it been beneficial for your organization?
Yeah, I think just like a little bit of network effect. Again, like as a founder, I think Alex is on your team as well. Two Alexes, and we actually know both Alex Wood and Alex. I can't remember his last name. It's like M.
And then Alex M.
Oh yeah, again, I write too much code, so the naming part is hard for me. But yeah, just network effect, and I think we bumped into Alex at just like an event, a startup event from university, and then he's like, hey, you guys are building dev tools, check it out. Oh, there's Garrett. Yeah, Garrett reached out, and I don't know, it just kind of happened naturally. A lot in the startup spaces though is pretty serendipitous. So, but yeah, and then we just, we kept working, and we really are early adopters to a lot of stuff. And I think we also give our 2 cents when we think something's like kind of off or not going to be how we like it. So, yeah.
You get feedback, you get that network effect as well. I'm curious on your side as a startup founder, kind of switching gears here, is like I think I always like to promote like becoming an open source maintainer or starting your own business and being a founder. But I also like to talk about the challenges so that people are aware. So what challenges have you encountered as a startup founder?
Yeah. So I'd say, so number one, the technical space is moving very, very quick, and the bar and the expectation from consumers of what your product does is higher and higher every year. So, there is a barrier to entry, but building, I never thought would be the hard part. Actually, what is more interesting is building a high performance team, building an inclusive and collaborative kind of environment and company culture. And really, when we scaled from like 6 people to almost 22 within the span of less than a year, there were that was a wild learning, and it was like, how do we organize? How do we orchestrate? How do you delegate, etc. And so as a founder and as a technical founder, kind of duplicating responsibility, and just deferring things or delegating things, that's really hard to figure out and become good at. And also too is like, in tech, there are a lot of like opinions, right? As there's like the Twitter wars about, the web space. It's funny because I used to work on web components, and there was the whole like React and web components community, and they're just like at it. We're now happily in the Dart and Flutter space. It's its own happy community, but people are opinionated. And so how do you consolidate technical debt? How do you reduce opinions? How do you not make people feel that their opinion doesn't matter, et cetera? These are all challenges of building, a technical team, but also building a product for a technical audience, right? And so, developers are notoriously hard to build for. But yeah, those are some of the challenges. Just again, empathize, and just try and understand, it's going to change. Things are going to change. You're going to have to adapt.
Yeah. I'm not a startup founder, but I relate as a developer advocate. I have to listen to developers' opinion.
Yeah.
And you realize you can't please everyone, and I think that was an interesting thought from you about like delegating, because I know sometimes that like technical founders they have a struggle of like not being in the code base. They still want to be in it, and it's like sometimes it's like you got to let the reins go, like go through the other like CEO, CTO stuff that you need to I guess people are pointing out that like there's startup companies or companies with good like team building or culture codex. So I believe this person works at GitHub, but they said HubSpot's culture codex is really helpful. And then someone also mentioned that GitLab's onboarding docs are as well.
Okay, to check that out.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I have seen HubSpots, but I haven't seen GitLabs. What on the flip side, what has been like the rewarding parts of leading a startup for you?
Yeah, I would say the most rewarding part, number one is I would just say seeing everyone and everything just like grow so much. When people come into a startup and you put a bunch of high performing individuals together, it's wild what starts to occur. And one of the reasons we're able to ship so much is, our ML team, our infrastructure team, our front end team, our growth team, everyone is just self-accountable and has that startup mentality, right? And so, it's fantastic. But what's even more special is that you're doing something on your own, and maybe you're checking in late night on something, or, especially as a sprint leader or an exec, you got to just, again, keep tabs on things, and just things are done. They're done above and beyond. That's probably the best, most magical feeling you can have. And then when your product starts to do things that surprise you, that are really nice, that's amazing. I'll tell you that's great. It's like someone on a team somewhere put some type of extra effort in. And then also interacting with customers. Again, developers, super opinionated, etc. And if you get that experience where it's like, oh wow, this is really nice. That's just really, that's the name of the game for us. Yeah.
That was so heartwarming, and I'll echo Nick in saying it sounds like you have an awesome team. It sounds great to be like, oh man, like I gotta log on, and then you log on, and maybe the work's already done, or they thought ahead and they improved it even more than you could have imagined. So that's super awesome.
I'll note one last thing on that is the best advice I can give to anyone out there starting a company is be a do with leader, right? And so what I mean by that is like, again, I go to these like founder events and stuff like that sometimes, and I look around and I'm like, anyone who's looking rested here, too rested, they're probably not a do with leader, right? And so, if your team is absolutely getting after it, you want to be, again, doing with, not saying, hey, do this for, XYZ. And so I think that from the top down, everyone empathizes with the work that, anyone in the company needs to do, and nothing's too small for anyone.
Yeah. I love that. That's really, really great advice. Be a do with leader. Sorry, y'all, that the camera just randomly turns off. I'm just gonna, it turned off again. Okay. I'm gonna switch to a pretty ugly view of me. Sorry, folks. But like my Mac camera, I'm probably super close to it, and it's all
nice. There you go.
Okay. I'll ask it. We're coming closer to time, so maybe I'll ask maybe 2 more questions about the startup life, and then I'll switch to the fun questions for you.
Sure.
I am curious if you have any advice on how you prioritize features within a startup.
Yeah, it's as simple as this. Never. So for us, if you use our product, it is, there are a lot of tools out there that you can manage snippets, etc. If you use our product, you will note that 99% of what we've built is very different than anything else that's out there. And so what that distills down to is solve and explore the unknown first, and then default to the known way. And so if there's an experience that you're trying to say, hey, look, let's push the ball forward on, Edge ML. Everyone can do cloud ML, right? That's a known thing. You can pull it in, you can have an API, etc. But solving for the unknown is, can we take the power of those cloud, models and put them on your device? And in solving that, but not sticking on that too long, right? If it's not working, cut it. But by solving that, you're going to learn a whole bunch of things that you can say, hey, we can default to the known, but at least we can, add XYZ improvements to it. So just solve for the unknown first. Don't do the default. Default thinking is just not going to get you far if you're trying to build an innovative, type of product.
I like that. Yeah. That's some great advice. I'm gonna not ask my questions because there's a question in here, and I like to interact with the audience more. We're here for that, not me. They said I'm about how a startup, hold on. I think they're asking, sorry, do you have any advice for how startup technical directors or technical managers of developers balance inward guidance of developers but outward communication to program managers?
Again, the most important thing, and this is just the hardest part, but it's the do with part, right? And so if you're going to show up to a conversation with your sprint leads or your ML team and you hadn't done your homework, or you're not asking first principle questions, that's going to stick out like a sore thumb, and they're going to immediately know, hey, you didn't empathize with the challenge in front of us or the problem that we're trying to solve. And so if you come in as a technical director or anything like that, bullshit, excuse me, is going to be recognized very quickly. And so, do your homework, admit what you don't know, explore, and fill in the gaps, and show up and just have a high level of empathy. I'm not an ML expert. I'm not, I'm kind of an in-between technical, individual. And so when I show up on front end or infrastructure or ML, it's like, hey, look, I don't know what I don't know, but here are the first principle thoughts, let's look at our options. So yeah, it's kind of a fuzzy way of thinking about it.
Yeah. I love your mindset. Even Paul Hammond here says, sounds like a great place to work. From what you told us, you have such a great, fantastic setup. And they were also asking, are you doing continuous delivery and truck-based development internally?
Yeah, we are. We absolutely are. We have, like I said, my demo today was on staging, which is pretty funny. So we have staging releases, beta releases, production releases, all through GitHub Actions, standard Git commits, all that type of stuff, branch permissions, you name it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. This was great to learn about like how your company works, how you're a little bit about your journey, what the actual product does. I'm gonna switch into some fun questions, less technical, just to round this out and end this out here. First question is, what's your most used emoji?
Oh, probably the handshake emoji. That one's pretty funny. We're going to be coming up on our Series A, later in the year or early next year or something. And so there's a lot of like just networking and setting up meetings and stuff like that. And so I've been on a handshake emoji kick. Green check marks. For our email today, I was like done. That one's key. So probably those two.
Nothing better than checking off something from a to-do list.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your favorite app on your phone?
This might make me sound like a psychopath, but the Sentry Crashalytics app for I don't even think it's supported. I don't know why. It's just a daily habit. But the first thing I do when I look up is just like how many failed runs do we have, how many sessions, etc. And yeah, I mean that's just I guess it's kind of a small way of just looking at the deal for the day. Yeah.
No, I get it. Like if I was a startup founder, I'd be like, let's see what I'm gonna step into today. It's almost like you're looking at the weather report.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And then this is just another, you don't have to like name and blame or name and shame companies. What was like your least enjoyable job ever? Like I've never liked retail.
I've been a startup founder like since straight out of college. So this is third company, fifth major project. And some of the previous projects, were rolled into open source or things like that. But I would say a flavor of that question is the edtech space. I just don't know if I can build in the edtech space. Just again, sales cycle, compliance, regulation, barrier to entry, etc. I'm liking the PLG motion a lot better for sure.
Gotcha. That's good insight. Okay, last question. What's your favorite rap song?
Oh man, this is a hard one. I have a bunch of songs.
Or favorite Beyonce song. You can only choose. I'm just kidding. If not, you can just say whatever the song is.
Yeah, I like this song called it's very PG for the audience, but it's called "Say Yeah" by Troy Boy. So yeah, you check it out. It's a good vibe. Bump it in the car or something, and yeah, it's a good one. But nice little energy song.
I'll check it out. I love listening to other people's recommendations. Yeah, I just asked some fun questions at the end just to see. In my other Twitch stream, I usually ask like, "What's your favorite Beyonce song?" But I'm like trying out new ones. All right, y'all. Well, is there any within this last minute, or I guess the last second, what anything you want to promote and tell people to check out? I guess we already have like the piecesapp.com and then youtube.com/ at Get Pieces, but anything that I'm missing?
Yeah. Our Twitter, same thing. Twitter at Get Pieces, really, really awesome. Lot of interactions there, and we're gonna be putting together some more communities on Reddit and probably like a Discord and stuff. Again, later in Q2. But all the support, really appreciate it. And again, we're a startup. We're doing the startup thing. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all. Thanks to the audience for being really engaged. I always appreciate that. So that way it's not like we're talking to ourselves. Thank you so much, Savo, for joining us today and taking the time to explain what your product does. And I just love that it's free and then it like really puts the developer first, or at least
Yep.
free for now. Audience, definitely if you really like this stream, go ahead and download Pieces, try it out at pieces.app. And that with that, I'll end this out. Thank you, y'all. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, y'all. Bye.